Chairman Larson, Ranking Member Graves, and the entire committee for the opportunity to testify on the issues surrounding the Boeing 737 MAX. As a 23-year flight attendant and international president of the Association of Flight Attendants-CWA, AFL-CIO, representing nearly 50,000 of aviation's first responders at 20 airlines, I am here today because the public looks to flight attendants when it comes to aviation safety. We are aviation's first responders and last line of defense, and we have more public contact and interaction than any other profession within aviation. And the public trusts us to look out for their interests. We are all here today because 346 lives were lost on Lion Air Flight 610 and Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302. This hearing room has many people in it who have lost loved ones due to tragedy in aviation. We can see their faces, feel the warmth of their smiles, and try with all our strength to carry on without them. Some days we do this with more success than others. But we also know with certainty that if there was anything at all that we could have done to prevent their lives being cut short, we would do it. This reality is inescapable. We know that aviation safety and security is written in their blood, and we must ensure their sacrifices mean that we fully examine the chain of events that led to their deaths so that this is never repeated. As I stated on March 13th, shortly after the grounding of the 737 MAX, lives must always come first. But a brand is at stake as well, and that brand is not just Boeing, it is America. What America means in international aviation, and by extension in the larger world more generally, that we set the standard for safety, competence, and honesty in governance of aviation. Under various agreements between the FAA and other countries or groups of countries, foreign authorities agree to work with the FAA to accept U.S. certification of aircraft and manufactured aeronautical products. This system of international aircraft certification has been built upon global recognition of the FAA and its statutory mandate to maintain safety at the highest possible level. This is now under question, and it means that the FAA must ensure that it has taken all measures to assure the safety of the 737 MAX within the U.S., as well as all countries who must also approve the aircraft for its return to service. Both Boeing and the FAA seem to recognize the need to win back public support and the importance of involving stakeholders in the process. Over the course of the last several months, our union has witnessed a chastened tone from Boeing and what appears to be a real desire to regain trust. This is critically important if remaining questions are to be answered and stakeholders around the world are to be convinced that the 737 MAX is safe to fly. It is significant that the FAA has formed the Technical Advisory Board and that they are engaging the rest of the world and conducting a rigorous review of the software fix and full accounting of human interaction with the functionality of the plane. The fix must be rigorously tested and communicated with utmost transparency and required training. And while this is not an area of expertise for our union, flight attendants must be assured that operators, pilots, regulators, and independent assessment is confident in the safe return to flight. We put our own lives on the line when we return to flight, and we will do so knowing all has been done to ensure safety. We are heartened to receive assurance that Acting Administrator Elwell is working in close coordination with worldwide regulators in returning the MAX to service. Mr. Elwell's time in leadership has not been easy, and yet he is tasked with securing the confidence of regulators around the world and the traveling public, and we need to do all we can to help him. Questions remain, but we believe that the FAA's engagement of all stakeholders is the right leadership approach. We encourage both Boeing and regulators to continue efforts with stakeholders to answer all the questions and communicate fully the lessons learned, along with any necessary changes in procedure. Flight attendants take our role in aviation seriously. And while we're not yet there, we look forward to assuring the public that it is safe to return to flight. We continue to receive questions from the traveling public about the 737 MAX, and there is confusion about the progression of the 737 aircraft models. It's common for crew to receive questions when working the 737NG about whether or not the aircraft is safe. This signals a fundamental question about the progression of the 737 aircraft models and whether or not the MAX should have been designated as an entirely new aircraft type. And this is the type of question that has to be answered if we can regain public confidence. I should also note that we do not have one question from flight attendants asking when we will regain the flight hours that we have lost with the 737 MAX, because safety is non-negotiable. We believe that we need to take a close look at ODA and the process for certification, and we also think that this committee's work to ensure a review of cabin aircraft certification in the FAA Reauthorization Act of 2018 is critically important. We believe that funding and ensuring a government shutdown never happens again is critically important, and we support H.R. 1108 to ensure that doesn't happen. Again, we commend this committee for its diligence in promoting aviation safety, and we look forward to the continued leadership from Acting Administrator Elwell in promoting a 737 MAX return to service that inspires confidence among aviation workers, our counterparts around the world, and the traveling public.